Nigeria owing and how much what they have done with the loans and all of that. We have a story about that. Nigeria's rising public debt, especially with the upcoming $1.7 billion World Bank loan, adds more pressure on the nation's fiscal management. While the funds aim to bolster critical sectors like healthcare, listen, Chuba, right? To bolster institutions like healthcare, agriculture, and infrastructure. The increase in debt now potentially exceeding 121 trillion naira. It puts Nigeria in a challenging spot, especially with the naira's depreciation. Now, this loan could play a vital role in stabilizing key sectors, right? But the cost of servicing it might deepen existing financial concerns, particularly for citizens that are already grappling with inflation and the high cost of living. But it doesn't mean there are no good sides to it. Given the current state of the economy, it reminds of the importance of strategic communication and clear messaging when discussing such matters. And just as okay, all right, let's look at this now. That I've shown you this part of it and the other side of it, the fact that these loans would actually help, you know, especially in sectors like healthcare and other sectors that need financing at the moment, considering the current state of Nigeria's economy. Ambassador, what would you have to say about this?
After borrowing this money, maybe Nigeria will be like Dubai or be like a United States of America.
Isn't that something that a lot of us are praying for?
Oh, amazing. But the unfortunate thing is that this is not the first time that such kind of money is being borrowed. And we never saw the impact of it in our country. I'd like to ask, if you are still going to borrow money, when states governors are still receiving money in billions, 25 billion, 30 billion, 40 billions. A state that is receiving 40 billion naira, do you still need to go and borrow money for them? Because Nigeria is a federated unit. It's made up of the 36 states and FCT, right? Where is the federal government wanting to use this money?
Healthcare.
Which healthcare? You know, there are some things that looks very laughable. The only thing that looks amazing is that somebody will sit down and develop a write-up that appears to be that when this thing works, Nigeria will look like Dubai and America. Then Mr. President will now say, oh, amazing. He will sign. So I feel that we don't need to borrow any money because right now, which road infrastructure are you talking about? It is time for us to look inwards.
But you know our healthcare has a lot that's going through right now. We're having brain drain. Doctors are leaving en masse.
Okay, they want to use the money to increase the welfare of doctors.
The healthcare itself.
I hear you.
Don't you know some of the reasons doctors are leaving is because of the fact that there are no updated equipment in some of these hospitals, and after they have studied the thing, there's nothing for them to really explore what they have studied. Advancement has been met in other countries on healthcare, but Nigeria is not there yet.
I understand. It is not a borrowed money that will improve the health sector. I'm saying that we already have money. If Bayelsa State Government, Rivers State Government says, we want to improve our health sector, and you put in 10 billion naira in one of your monthly allocation, 10 billion naira is not 10 naira. I don't know the kind of medical facility that any doctor in Nigeria will want to recommend that 10 billion naira, my brother Chuba, will not be able to provide. We go to Delta State. Delta State invest 10 billion naira. Say, doctors, make your recommendation, all the kind of facilities you want us to put, right, in place. I don't think Delta State government will say we don't have that money. From the current money they generate, from the current money that is allocated to them. So I want to plead with Mr. President that this memo that these people are developing, I don't want to spoil business for anybody. I'm not against anybody, but I'm only speaking as a Nigerian, making my own suggestion. Before somebody will say, Ambassador Key want to spoil business for me, now it has got to my turn. I'm not against you, bros.
So you wait, Ambassador, let's get this right. You actually feel like this is just some set of people trying to carry out some business activities, and that's why we're collecting
It is possible now, because in government, for you to benefit, most times you must come up with idea. When you come up with an idea, then the person in charge will approve that idea, because he knows that there is also economic benefit from that idea you have generated. So people don't mold brain in Nigeria for nothing.
Ambassador, this is like an allegation, because you are alleging that we are collecting loans for private pockets.
Well, if you say I'm alleging, I don't know whether you want to sue me to court. I'm not alleging.
Don't worry. I'm
only contributing because I'm entitled to my opinion, and we are analyzing the issue. So I'm saying that the beautiful idea that is put in place, whoever that have developed or authored it, whether a committee or team, is not the right time. What if there are needs on infrastructure? If there are needs on our health sector, let us look inwards. Let the state governors look at the needs at their various states, and then look at, from their little generated revenues and allocation, apportion resources to that area of the health sector, of the infrastructure, of whatever sector they are talking about. Let us begin to talk about how we develop our states, because we have resources. So let's not be talking about borrowing at this time. I feel it's wrong, it's not timely.
What other time would be, what other time will you regard as timely than the time when the economy is actually suffering? But let's get to Achuba's thoughts on the story.
It was a former head of state, I think, Gowon, that said the problem of Nigeria is not how to make money, it's how to spend it. And if I fast forward from that military regime to the time of the past governor of Rivers State, the person of Rotimi Amechi, who came up with a transportation system of a monorail, and one of those pillars costing 50 million naira. And if you go to the government house front, you can count the pillars there. Outside the work, whenever you count the pillars, this pillar 50 million naira, you now start counting whatever technology was wasted there. Okay. Now, what am I trying to say with all of this? Ambassador is only being careful and wanting to be politically correct, massaging the egos of the political leaders. But that is the difference here, because the truth is, Ambassador has said it all. I will only echo it. The Minister for Women Affairs, when she took over from Betta Edu or so, she came to see a loan from the World Bank of over $500 million. From that loan, she said the facilitators will be collecting 40% from that loan as facilitators' money. Then our office is supposed to collect 5% or 1% as the case, and she was not part of it. She came out to the high heavens to complain, to cry. What did the security financial institutions in Nigeria do? That issue, as we're talking now, I'm trying to remember because it's a forgotten story. Now we're talking about 1.7 billion to be borrowed again. You ask yourself, to do what? We sent 46,000 soldiers and military personnel to Edo State for one-day election, that at the end of the day, the result that is coming out from that election is one that the people are crying like the election never held. Have we at any point in time deployed 40,000 to say, man the bushes today, that the farmers will work for 24 hours and after come back, let us see where the bandits are going to destroy the crops or destroy what they have done? We are not a serious set of people. There's no mising words. People will go, there are people say that facilitate this money. Another problem we have, the World Bank is giving us this money. If you are borrowing somebody money, are you not saddled with the responsibility to go and know what they're doing with the money? All the money that have been borrowed to Nigeria, what have they come to investigate to find out that they've been done with the money? The money that they expended in elections. How many billion was put into election, general election? And the election was so shambolic and embarrassing. And tomorrow, the people will still come and beat you for money again, you still borrow them. It's an hanky-panky game. They don't do that in other claims and other nations because they know that the countries will probe those processes. Look at the aliboting say, the embarrassing process of aliboting in Nigeria. People went back to the United States of America and were jailed for the roles they played here in another man's country. But because Nigeria is a wuru for everybody, strong men deciding what they want, and the people are so dumb, dumb, they have no voice anymore. Automatically, the government does what they like. A government that takes pride in arresting people that came out to protest, but cannot take pride in saying that 30 people died, or 80 people died, or a carnage was rendered in a place, and people were kidnapped, and let government throw all our arsenals into that place. The government will not do such. Up until today, I'm yet to hear what has happened to the people that killed the 6 soldiers in Sokoto State. Till today, that story is almost history for me. I stand to be corrected. Yes, people can bombard the platform and say, it's not even informed. This happened, that happened. Fine and good. I'll be very glad not to be informed, to know that something positive happened. What are we trying to say? This is another money to be shared. We are seeing the government in power. What has the government done with all the money? A government that came out from the very on-go, came out without reading through the books, without checking anything, so daft, came out to say subsidy has been removed, and because of removal of subsidy, all the monies are accrued from subsidy. Nobody can give account of it. And at the end of the day, we are talking about even paying even higher subsidy. They are telling us they are going to borrow money for what infrastructures? Where have been pointed to say this money that is coming in, we are going to look at XYZ as the farms that must be workable. And it is all these years that has happened. When even projects have been pinpointed that this is a project we are putting money for, when they were not carried out, what has been done to the people that were saddled with responsibility to do so? Nothing has been done. It's a government. It's a symbolism of governance, and it is something that only supernatural forces can assist Nigerians now, because the political structuring is so bad, so evil, so wicked that the people are not even considered in the scheme of things. They're talking about borrowing $1.7 billion added to the borrows that this government have borrowed. For crying out loud, who does that?
Well, a country with such an economy, this administration earlier said they inherited a dead economy. With that in mind, and considering the financial strength of the economy of Nigeria right now, don't you think this could be a right move? But if you say it's another way of, getting money to spend and all of that, how do you think we can come out of this?
Listen, I have said this and I will keep reiterating. The traditional local proverb says, the fish starts rotting from the head. If this system of ATN is not functional, you look at the chairman, the CEO, you look at him. If it is functional, you look at him. What are we trying to say? We cannot overflog or emphasize these issues. The present president of this country prided himself as solely bringing the former government, the former administration to power. He beat his hand on his chest and said, I am the leader of this party, and it is my turn to be president, and I will be president. I know what I have done to put the structures and systems in place, and this is what will work. And he has become president today. How can a sane person come out again to start making excuses for such an administration and such a people? And I have said before, without minusing words, from the day the president was announced president of this country, we had never expected anything good, but we only be constructive critics to tell government that we never expected anything good from you, so do something good so that we can be wowed. Outside of that, nothing can happen. The president came into office and gathered all the urchins, all the non-urchins, all the evil doers in this country, all the riggers of the election, all the wicked people that have brought the country to our knees in all these zones together. Then what are you expecting from a rotten tree? Expecting good fruits? The reality is what is staring us in the face. Whether we like it or yes, this is another money to be borrowed, to be shared, and to be expended on areas they consider more valuable for them. In the election, we are still talking about vote buying in 2024.
How do we come out of the economic
The only way we can come out of this economic problem we have today is for the Nigerian people to stand up and say, if there is a protest tomorrow, nobody should stay in his house. If there is a memo tomorrow to say there is a town hall meeting where people want to vent their anger and vent it right, nobody should stay in their house. Nobody should stay.
What happened?
Listen, we did not protest, and let us not lie to ourselves.
So we've not
in a population of over 6 million people, 30,000 people come out in River State to say they are protesting. We are jokers. We have not felt the heat.
So the people who came out are what?
Listen to me. Those people are the patriots. They are the people to be celebrated. They are my friends. I respect them. I drop my heart for them. They are the real Nigerians. They are the people who wish Nigeria well. But a larger chunk of Nigerian populace like you sit down here, make analysis, and come out at the end of the day, join the bandwagons of our leaders who have chosen to kill us, and pretend because everybody is looking for safety. But you ask yourself, is it the Nigeria you want to bequeath to your children? Some people already have children that are scared of their tomorrow. Some people are looking for the least money to say, okay, let my child go to Ghana or Benin to start living because Nigeria does not seem a country to stay.
So you're saying the protest will take us out of the states that we are in at the moment?
The protest, if allowed, if a genuine protest is allowed to occur in a civil climate, like we saw what happened in Kenya, when people ventilate their anger to that dimension, leadership has to think, or leadership will have to have a crack. But in a system of ours, that is what we are saying. Something has to be done.
We'll talk more about protests later on, but let's bring you in the conversation.
I also like to contribute that when Mr. President came on board, very many of us believe that he's going to come up with new innovations that is going to lead Nigeria to a very good promised land. I also want to state that the president did not gather all the criminals, all the election riggers and all that. There are still responsible people that are in the government of Mr. President who are also doing well in their little rights. And we know that there are some who are not really performing, they are underperforming. But what we are only advocating is that Mr. President should sit up and ensure that the right thing that will make Nigeria right and better should come up. We know that the loan that is before us will be taken, will be granted, because of the kind of system we run. The masses really do not have a say. The masses do not really have a voice. But we are saying, in case the people in government, Mr. President, will want to hack into our suggestions, that in case maybe he has not been reminded that this loan that we want to take may not be very helpful to us. Yes, we inherited a dead economy. It's not the economy that money will no longer be coming in because we still have crude. And our state governors and local government have still been receiving allocation. My brother Chuba, is that correct? So it means that there is still money coming up to ensure the welfare of Nigerians. The day state government no longer have allocation, that's the day I will say that the economy is dead. That's the day I will say that let us look for means of borrowing more money to run the government. But for now, the states have still been receiving, they are still receiving the billions of naira. The local government are still receiving the millions of naira. So agencies of government are still getting what they ought to get. So I don't think we are having challenge, because what they said is not to maintain government, is to invest in infrastructure, in road, that we, for how many years since democracy started, we are still struggling with bad road, our federal road. So the only where you can have a good road mainly is when you get to FCT Abuja. That's where you can see the presence of the federal government in a high tempo. So I want to say that if the road is our problem, like I've talked about the health sector, right? Governors should be made to invest in the health sector. Let the best brain in what do you call it, Association of Medical Doctors, put up a suggestion, a memo. This is what we need on the road.
They have time,
yes, on the federal road. That is where federal government want to put money, because it is not working. The River State governor should be allowed to should be made to repair the road from Port Harcourt from River State getting to Bayelsa boundary. The governor of Bayelsa should be made to repair. And
you're referring to federal roads?
That's federal government is still state government. You
just have a way of taking the hands of the federal government off their responsibility.
Because it is not working. These things that we are talking about affect members of the states. That's why I'm emphatic. Because the state will have the resources. Let us look at the solution.
And the federal government does not have the resources.
Federal government is Aboki. Federal government is in Abuja.
What do you mean by
federal government is in Abuja. So if Abuja people don't want to repair our road in River State, should we now say that the road should remain that way? Who is going to suffer for it? So I'm saying that if our problem is the roads within our states, let the state governors tell the federal government, okay, just give us a permission. Because in most of these states, we see where they repair road bigger than the federal government road, right? So let the state government say our citizens and indigents have agreed that give us the permission to repair this road. After all, there were governors that repaired road and we are asking for government to federal government to refund
the same governors you're saying leave these things and give us the money. And you know, I always make reference to that statement, not because I'm against it, right? If money is shared, I'm a citizen, I'll get my share. You understand? But what I'm trying to say is sometimes when you mention some of these things you expect the state governors to do, and then I'm now wondering how they would do all of these things if your suggestion of sharing the money to residents is scary.
You want me to repeat
well,
this
we're not going
no.
like,
When you raise it, when you raise it, I must respond. No.
I'm sorry, not today.
I'm not speaking as a stranger.
We're not having that conversation.
I've always said that even if they share that money in a month, my brother Chuba, the population of Rivers State is not up to 10 million. Okay. So if Rivers State government have 40 billion, and you share 1 million to 10 million people, will there not still be billions to do projects?
Okay, you made your points and you keep making
so there are money. We are not
mentioned. You've said now leave state projects, enter federal.
You are not getting me. It's still our resources. We can say suspend the Ogonibodo road and face East-West road. Is it not?
Thank you so much.
There is money.
That one. We're still optimistic.